Hello, my name is Charlotte, and for my homeostasis internal, I will be talking about thermoregulation in puffin birds. Thank you for watching. So, homeostasis refers to the process of keeping the internal body environment in a steady state when the external environment is changed. It allows enzymes and systems in the body to be readjusted to a particular set of conditions in order to operate more efficiently. The hormone system and autonomic nervous systems is mainly dedicated to homeostasis. All homeostatic mechanisms use negative feedback to maintain a constant value or set point. Negative feedback occurs whenever a change occurs in the system. A corrective system automatically starts and works to reverse the original change and bring the system back to normal. When a system is controlled by negative feedback, the set level is never perfectly maintained, but constantly oscillates about the set point. An efficient homeostatic system minimizes the size of the oscillations. One of the most important examples of homeostasis is the regulation of body temperature. Animals that maintain a fairly constant body temperature, for example birds and mammals, are called endotherms. Endotherms usually maintain their body temperatures at around 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, and otherwise known as warm-blooded. Endothermic animals use internal corrective mechanisms to ensure that the temperature of the blood going to vital organs such as brain and heart is kept constant. Some of the responses to low temperature actually generate heat while others just conserve heat, for example vasoconstriction. Similarly, some of the responses to warmth actively cool the body down, for example panting, while others just reduce heat production or transfer heat to the surface. The body therefore has a range of responses available depending on the internal and external temperatures. Atlantic puffins are found exclusively in the northern Atlantic Ocean, where there is a cold climate. They have a diet of fish and marine vertebrates, and their prey is obtained and dives up to 15 meters underwater. In puffin birds, body temperature is controlled by the thermoregulatory centers in the hypothalamus. It receives input from two sets of thermoreceptors. Receptors in the hypothalamus itself monitor the temperature of the blood as it passes through the brain, or the core temperature, and receptors in the skin monitor the external temperature. Both sets of information are needed so that the body can make appropriate adjustments. The thermoregulatory center sends impulses to different effectors to adjust body temperature. The maintenance of the body temperature that varies only slightly despite large variations of activity and environmental temperature requires a precise control system. Heat production and heat loss must be regulated at all times. There is evidence that in the puffin birds this control is performed largely by nerve cells in the hypothalamus. Numerous studies show that hypothermic thermodetectors are quite sensitive to thermal changes and are able to cause physiological responses. According to the hypothalamus, only 1 to 2 degrees Celsius have caused vasoconstriction and shivering. Heating the hypothalamus contains thermoregulatory centers which process impulses from sensory paths and initiates a neutral discharge to the structure which maintains body temperature. So as you can tell by the diagram, when the bird's temperature increases or has a high temperature, by things like exercise, or if it goes to a warmer climate, the temperature receptors in the hypothalamus activate the cooling mechanism. And the primary cooling mechanism is the skin blood vessels, and that's where the vasodilation occurs. And if that doesn't work by itself, the puffin starts to pant. So these two mechanisms work together to cool the body down. And then if the bird's temperature is low, because it's in a cooler environment, the warming mechanisms are activated through temperature receptors in the hypothalamus. And firstly, the vasoconstriction occurs, and if that doesn't work, that's the primary mechanism. But if that doesn't work, the skeletal muscles start creating heat by shivering, and these two mechanisms work together until the body is warm enough to switch the mechanisms off or back at its normal temperature. When puffins get too cold, it is the heat conservation center of the hypothalamus which is stimulated. The primary way for increasing heat production for puffins is vasoconstriction. Another way for increasing heat production for puffins is shivering. The large flight muscles, or pectorals, as well as the leg muscles, play an important role in generating heat by shivering. Shivering is a randomized quivering of muscles and can produce heat at a rate 5 times greater than the basal metabolic rate. It is a puffin's first line of defense against decrease in temperature. Shivering occurs when temperature receptors in the skin and brain sense a decrease in body temperature and trigger the shivering response. Muscle groups around the vital organs begin to shake in small amounts in an attempt to create warmth by expending energy. When puffins get too hot, the heat loss center in the hypothalamus is stimulated. The relatively high deep body heat temperature, the absence of sweat glands, and the localized distribution of fat, and the effective insulation provided by feathers distinguish the thermoregulatory physiology of birds from other groups of homeothermic animals. Birds depend heavily on panting as a thermoregulatory mechanism in hot environments. Puffins have no sweat glands, so evaporation, one way to lose heat, can occur only by the respiratory system. If a puffin was exposed to a high surrounding of temperature, the resulting hypothermia would cause the puffin to pant. With increasing body temperature, the respiration rate increases. The respiratory system of the puffin bird consists of the lungs and the air passages leading to and from them. The air passages are made up of nasal cavities, pharynx, trachea, larynx, and bronchi. A warmer climate or exercise will give a puffin a rapid respiration rate. Regular breathing would allow greater heat dissipation. If the body becomes too hot, the body sends signals to dilate the blood vessels, which is called vasodilation. This expansion of blood vessels brings the vessels closer to the skin surface, allowing heat to escape more easily. If this isn't enough to cool the body, panting will occur, and increased convection and evaporation from the air sacs will occur, helping lower the body temperature. Oil spilled by tankers and drilling operations can cause the puffins to become sick when they swallow oil while attempting to clean their feathers. The toxins, such as heavy metals found in the oil spill, can scramble the electrical signals that reach the hypothalamus, causing it to release powerful hormones that affect the autonomic nervous system, therefore affecting the ability for the hypothalamus to send the right signals in order for the feedback loop to function properly. Positive feedback is a cycle in which one change leads to even more significant changes in the same direction. Positive feedback is a way for the body to produce significant changes in a relatively short period of time. Positive feedback isn't always beneficial to the body. If an infection is present, the body may respond with an increase in temperature or fever. If the infection continues to spread and develop, the body may continue to raise its temperature in an attempt to rid itself of the infection. If the temperature rises too high, it can have serious and even deadly consequences. If the positive feedback loop continues, death is likely to occur. The adaptive significance of having thermoregulation is that puffin birds have the ability to live in a cold environment where there are very few predators in order to get food efficiently all throughout the year. Endothermy allows puffins to stabilize their internal temperature in a cold environment, allowing biochemical processes and nervous system functions to reset at steady high levels of activity. Therefore, they can remain active in winter and exploit habitat denied to ectotherms. This gives them a greater chance of survival. During the day, puffin birds are very active. They have long migration routes and work hard to catch their prey. The panting mechanism keeps them active by alleviating heat exhaustion. Thank you for watching.